Hey WorldPen fans! We try to give helpful writing tips both on our blog and in our videos. But we can't cover everything, and quite frankly, some people are a lot better at giving writing tips than us. So I decided to assemble a list of 5 different books in writing that you ought to read in order to enhance your writing. Now, I'm not going to say that these are necessarily the top 5 books on writing or anything like that, but they're 5 books that have really helped me with over the years. So, without any further ado, alright, book number 1, Christian Imagination by Leland Ryken as the editor. This book here is probably my favorite book that I read last year. It's basically a collection of essays by some of the most brilliant literary minds about the purpose of writing, how to write, basically anything and everything that has to do about writing. So you have essays on the purpose of fiction, on viewing literature as a form of art, on why modern Christian fiction is pretty weak nowadays, and so many other fascinating topics. Poetry, fantasy, realism, narrative, it's all in here. I mean, stuff by Tolkien, Schaeffer, O'Connor, L'Engle. Basically, it's an awesome book, and you ought to check it out. What do The Lion King, Star Wars, and The Wizard of Oz all have in common? That's what this book right here will tell you. This book basically traces a lot of the common plots, characters, and motifs in literature and looks at each of them in turn. A lot of it's based off of Joseph Campbell's book, A Hero with a Thousand Faces, but it's a really excellent book. So if you're trying to come up with a plot that works for your book, this offers a lot of good advice on how to structure your book based on time-tried ways that have looked for a lot of other great books and movies in the past. Now, admittedly, this author has had most of experience in the film industry, so a lot of it is based on how to write a good film. But if you're looking at it realistically, the way you write a good film is kind of the same way you write a good novel. So I found it invaluable in helping me to understand the basic plot and structure of a novel, and so I hope you will find it helpful too. This book basically has tips on almost anything related to writing. At least the actual writing part of it. So, I don't know, let's see, we've got chapters on writing fascinating characters, on creating tension, writing good dialogue, creating resonance, editing your work. Basically, really good tips all across the board. For me personally, I know this book has helped me especially both to write more clearly and concisely by cutting out all the unnecessary words in my dialogue, and it's helped me to actually enjoy editing, which is a huge bonus when you're trying to edit like 100,000 word novel. It's not fun if you don't enjoy editing, so you want to like it. Basically, I'm saying if you're looking for a book that is full of good tips on the writing process itself, this is a good one to pick up. This book is kind of like the previous book in that it's a bunch of tips about writing. The difference is that while Stein's book is kind of the actual writing nuts and bolts process, Wilson's book here is more about giving tips about everything around writing. So you have tops on what to read, why learning languages helps your writing, and what kind of exercises works. Basically here, Wilson is going for a lot of different writing tips that other people aren't necessarily going to give you. They're unique, they're out of the box, and there's 49 of them, so hopefully a couple of them stick. Besides of this, Wilson is just really entertaining to read, so go ahead and check this one out. This one is because a lot of people that I talk to tend to hate editing. And, like it or not, you kind of have to admit it's kind of integral to the writing process. So this book has a lot of really important things that you should look for while editing, and tips for how to enjoy the editing process more. It's really easy when self-editing to just get lost and to be not quite sure what you're doing and how you're supposed to make this book better. So this book has a lot of great answers to that question. Alright, so there are the 5 books I recommend. Christian Imagination, Writer's Journey, Stein on Writing, Wordsmithy, and Revision Self-Editing. You can get links to where you can buy all these in the description, so go down to the description and check some of these books out. You can either get them off Amazon, or you might even be able to find some of them at your local library. Ultimately, there are a lot of great books in writing out there, and I've grown a lot as a writer by reading some of them. So go find these books, read them, and grow as a writer. I feel like there should probably be a more fascinating, unique, and inspiring ending for this video. Unfortunately, you asked for a writer to be shooting this video and not a public speaker. So, afraid that's just what you get.